Welcome, I'm Matt from Total Drummer, and this is the world's most boring drum fill. But in this short video, I'm going to show you 5 ways to really quickly improve that fill and make it interesting. Right, so sometimes we need those basic fills. So I know I said it's the most boring fill, but actually it's a usable fill, it does work, and you can use it, but sometimes it's nice to embellish it and make it interesting. So we're going to look at these 5 different ways we can do that. Just quite easy steps that I think you'll be able to do today quite easily. Okay, so the first one is just looking at different orchestrations. So we've got 4 16th notes going around each drum, 4 on the snare, 4 on the high tom, mid tom, low tom. That's the boring fill. So first off, I want to think about splitting it just in groups of 2. So we could do 2 on the snare, 2 on the high tom, 2 back on the snare, 2 on the floor tom, etc. So let's check it out. By the way, you can grab all of the sheet music for this in the link below the video. So you can grab this, print it out, do whatever you want to do and learn these properly. But I'm just going to show you one orchestration idea. Of course, that's nice and easy, still keeping it in these nice even groups of 2. But the next one I want to show you is slightly different orchestration, is to move it in groups of 3. So like snare, snare, tom, snare, snare, tom. And that creates an interesting phrasing because we're working in 16th notes, which are grouped in 4, but we're doing a 3-note grouping with those movements around the kit. So it creates a slightly more interesting rhythm. Okay, and then to finish up with this orchestration idea, where we really want to get to with this is just to be free so we can improvise and move it around our kit completely freely without having to think about it, right? So just think you've got 16 16th notes in the bar in these groups of 4. So there's so many hundreds, thousands, maybe millions of combinations that we can move around the kit. So I've given you 2 set ideas today, written out, notated, and I've played them for you. But also I just want you to try and be free with it. Just try and have that confidence to move around the kit. If you haven't done it before, it can seem a bit scary, but just accept you'll make mistakes, and going through that process you'll figure out things you like, things you don't like, and you'll filter out the bad stuff, keep the good stuff, and then you're gonna have some really cool fills. And eventually you will be able to just improvise on the spot. You'll have that confidence even in front of an audience at a gig to just go into this type of fill completely freely, improvise it, and you could just make up a different fill every single time. Okay, so the second tip that I want to give you today is talking about dynamics. So this is different volumes. So rather than playing everything in the same volume like I did with the first fill, it's all kind of one level, we can start to look at using dynamics to make it sound different. Now I'm going to use the idea from that orchestration I did where I went snare, snare, tom, snare, snare, tom. So like a 3-note thing. So I'm going to use that now and play soft, soft, loud, soft, soft, loud, soft, soft, loud, soft, just on the snare drum. Just on one drum, but listen to how much more interesting it is having these soft ghost notes and the loud accents. Okay, so next up I want to take that same accent pattern, so soft, soft, loud, soft, soft, loud, but we're going to play all of the ghost notes on the snare drum and we're going to move the accents onto toms. Okay, for the third option here, I want to add a new rudiment to the beginning, which is a drag. So we're just going to lead into the fill with a drag. If you're comfortable with the drag, if you're familiar with it already, then you can put this at the beginning of most fills, and it just adds a little embellishment that makes it sound more interesting. All right, so for this fourth idea, we're going to take, you know, these 4 16th notes. We started off snare, 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 tom, 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 tom. We're gonna keep that framework, but if we've got 4 16th notes on each drum, we're going to play the first 2 as per normal, and the second 2 we're going to substitute with bass drums. So go snare, snare, bass, bass, high tom, bass, bass, and so on around the kit. So bringing these bass drums in just adds this whole extra vibe to the feel, makes it sound like there's way more going on, but really we've just taken beat 3 and 4, or note 3 and 4 in every beat, and put it on the bass drum. Alright, and for the fifth idea, we're going to take another rudiment, which is the flam. So I'm going to use the fill that we just did, substitutes, hand, hand, bass, bass, hand, hand, bass, bass, hand, hand, bass, bass, flam. So we're going to end it with a flam. Because I don't know if you noticed, on that last fill, you finish with 2 bass drums, and then as you loop back to the beat, you start with another bass. There's actually 3 bass drums in a row. That's kind of tricky. So sometimes just ending with that big flam on beat 4 is a really powerful and effective sound, but also gives us a bit of breathing space before we come back to the groove. Okay, so we've had our 5 tips. I said it's 5 tips, but I've got a bonus one for you. So we're gonna look at a bonus one now. And this is really combining all of these. So when you play music, there's lots of techniques and ideas going on, but they're rarely in isolation. So we've learned 5 different ideas in isolation, but we could throw all of those into the mix. So all of them were like one little step away from that boring fill. But now if we throw them all into the mix, it's going to sound like a completely different fill. But having watched this video, you can see that each one, that little breakdown, each one was just a small step away from the original. When combined, it sounds completely different. And there's millions of combinations now. If you think about adding the drag, adding the flam, substitutes with bass drums, dynamics, different orchestrations around the kit, we never have to play the same fill again, just with those 5 different variations. So I'm going to play, I'm just going to combine all 5 ideas and make up a unique fill. Cool, so there you go, 5 tips plus a bonus one to take the most boring fill in the world, which again, it's still a usable fill. I don't want to be mean to that fill. It's a good fill, it's been with us forever. For most of us, it's the first fill we learn. You can still use it, but also hopefully now you feel like you've got some really good ideas to develop it to the next level. Go and grab that sheet music below so you can practice this, and I'll see you next time. Hope you've enjoyed that video, guys. If you have, please hit subscribe and don't forget to grab the free sheet music below, and I'll see you on the next video.